Imagine living off campus. It may be not far, like 5 minutes away. So you think to yourself, I don't have to leave that early. But once you get there, you find yourself scanning the lots near Macumsey, but you find nothing. So you go up to Pasillo, and still nothing. So you go to the parking garage behind Caputo, and thankfully you find a spot, but it's already so close to the class time that you have to book it to class to hope that your professor doesn't mark you absent. And even though you saw empty spots, you know that you weren't allowed to parking those. So, according to Millersville University, approximately 70% of the student body are commuters. So, to put that in real terms, that's about 4,650 people. So, now try and picture parking lots on campus. Can you picture 4,000 spots for people to park in? And on top of that, there's 500 faculty members with their own designated parking spaces, some being mixed in with commuter spots. Obviously, not all the students and staff are on campus at the same time, but there are certain times of the day where it's nearly impossible to find parking anywhere on campus. Now, I'm not saying that the university should make more parking lots, because, to be honest, we're running out of usable space on campus. But I do suggest a few reforms to the parking situation for commuters. Like, for example, the cost of the annual parking permits, less restrictions on designated parking areas, and to keep commuters up to date on events that may overrun our spaces. So first, let's talk money. So if any of you are commuters, you know that the annual parking permit runs about $100. With that being said, the university makes $46,500 annually on just the commuter parking passes. So if the university were to include the price of the parking permits into the semester bill, it would be a much easier process and would take stress off the students in question. Because the university offers a grace period of about a week at the beginning of the semester, where they don't go around giving tickets to anyone who's parked in the wrong spaces or does not have a pass at all, students often are relying on student loan refunds to come in, and those don't come in until the second or third week of the semester. So once that grace period's over, they'll start ticketing immediately. And even though tickets are usually about $25, you could find yourself paying double what you would originally if you would have been able to have that cost put into your semester bill and had that parking permit from the start. So, not to mention that the faculty of the university don't have to pay for the same amenity. And as pointed out by Michael Brockett in an article from the Snapper, faculty who park in commuter spots don't receive tickets for parking in the wrong area. However, if a student were to park in the wrong spot, they are ticketed. On the topic of faculty, let's talk parking restrictions. As mentioned, the commuter and faculty members have their own spaces. These are marked by white lines for commuters and yellow for faculty. And while the paint difference is quite helpful in some areas, there are others, like the parking garage behind Caputo, where yellow line spots are in an area that the color cannot be made out because there's no light. I personally received a parking ticket doing the exact mistake, and even after appealing it to the parking division and telling them what had happened, I still ended up having to pay the ticket anyway. So if the university were to allow for popular parking areas like Macumsey or the parking lot near Beamsturfer to have spaces that could be considered faculty or commuter, it would cut down on the number of unused or wrongly used spaces. This is also a point in which Michael Brockett makes that students pay to go here. We pay for the parking permits, and ultimately we pay when others take the paid options that we have from us. While the faculty are paid to be here, they don't have to pay for a parking permit, and they are free to park in either white or yellow lines without having to pay for that consequence. So now let's talk communication. There are days where you show up at a decent time, only to find that the parking division has flagged off a whole row of commuter spots for some sort of event. In my case, I was getting ready to leave campus when I saw a division officer blocking off the row near Beamsturfer, and I politely asked her what she was doing, and she replied, "My job." And I was like, well, okay, but why are you blocking off these spots while students are still in classes? And her response was, well, don't you know what day it is? And I was stunned because I'm a full-time student and a senior, and I work 2 jobs. I knew what day of the week it was, but I wasn't up to date on on-campus activities. And while we receive the daily email and things that are happening on campus, not once did I see anything that mentioned when or where parking spaces would be blocked off. If the university were to share this information with students who are traveling to campus, they would be able to adapt accordingly. And so while I personally graduate in the spring, I hope that the commuting body speaks up and lets the university know about their concerns. And since there's more than one article on the Snapper about this issue, I hope that the campus hears them out. And so even if you and I are only 2 of the 4,650 students who commute to campus daily, know that everyone struggles with the parking situation. So hopefully in the next few years, you can see the cost of the parking permits go down, the use of blending parking areas, and better communication between the university and the commuting students. Thank you.